or blind. But when it's denied, is there violence you may find.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mad About Toys podcast. I'm Matt Pellerin, and today we're talking about Edward Nashton. Who's Edward Nashton? Glad you asked. From the upcoming film by Matt Reeves, The Batman, Edward Nashton is none other than supervillain the Riddler. Played by extremely talented actor Paul Dano. What a great casting choice that was. This ain't your regular Riddler. Tailored suit, question mark covered, top hat wearing Riddler. Oh no, this Riddler's a psycho. Serial killer targeting the rich and elite of Gotham City. Could Bruce Wayne be his next target? Does he know the true identity of Bruce Wayne? Holy shit, Batman. March 4th can't come soon enough. For now, we'll have to settle for the action figure. Let's do it. Check out The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of the Riddler by McFarlane Toys. All right. It's time for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. As just like the Batman figure, let's start off with the ugly ball hinges. Opposite on the Batman as it is on the Riddler, the wrist hinge ball is pretty hidden. It's in there. It's ugly. Wish they'd stop using it. But this one is the ugly one. With that boot there. Half cut. You can see the ball joint clearly. So ugly. Why they didn't cut it down further would have been nice. Next, we'll move on to these ugly elbow joints. Oh, god awful. You can't pose it like that. Can't pose it like that. Looks so ugly. You can scratch his back though. Check that out. Oh. Batman's didn't do this. That is ugly. And lastly, that ugly ice scraper. I'm assuming it's some kind of knife. He is a serial killer after all. But it's big, oversized like all of McFarlane's accessories. It looks ugly. So, let's move on to the bad. Just before we move on to the bad, let's show the worst offenders of ugly elbows. Probably the worst in McFarlane history, and that award goes to Peacemaker. Oh, those are ugly. It's almost the same mechanism that is used in the Riddler that's used in Peacemaker. You can fold it in half almost. So good for articulation, but if you're a toy photographer, who's taking a picture like that? Not me. Let's move on to the bad, and I'm not sure if this is just my figure or all figures. Can't say I've seen this mentioned in any other review of this Riddler figure, but the feet are very loose in mine. He falls down all the time due to it. Even with the peg stand, can kind of just push him over. So that's bad. The articulation on the legs, although like you can bend his knees very nicely, kick his butt, but due to the jacket, you can't really do anything with these legs. Sideways, out forward, and splits. About as well as I can do the splits, but really hindered by this jacket. And the next bad thing, accessories. This thing is just, like I mentioned before, it's ugly. I don't know what it is. Looks like an ice scraper. If you haven't seen D. Hunter's review, he had a picture of him scraping off a windshield. That's pretty funny. He comes with this closed fist. When is Riddler ever punching somebody in the face? They didn't even give Batman a closed fist. Come on. If you're going to give him a closed fist, at least throw in another hand there where he's gripping. And speaking of gripping, this is a trigger finger. No doubt about it. It's a trigger finger. So, not sure if he's going to have a gun in this movie or if this figure was supposed to come with a gun. But due to the Warner Brothers ban on guns, they didn't include it. And the last bad thing, although you can't see it, I know it's there. I see you, side-eye. McFarlane, why are you doing this? Stop having the eyes looking in one direction, off to the left usually. Just have them look straight. And that's it for the bad. Let's check out the good. And there we have it. Trigger finger. Take that, Warner Brothers. Bang, bang. And now on to the good. The bread and the butter. The peanut butter and jam. The reason why, if you're a Batman fan, you should probably buy this figure. It looks awesome. I know some people might be a little iffy with the costume. It doesn't look like your traditional Riddler, but the costume design is great. This guy's a serial killer, and this costume exudes serial killer. Like, this is Dexter right here. He'd wear this jacket, minus that. But it's awesome. Gun from Valiverse Action Force pack. They're for 6-inch figures, but this is a 7-inch figure, and it looks alright. The jacket looks fantastic. All the wrinkles. I'm going to hit this with a wash, and I'll come back and show you guys. But I think a black wash will just make those wrinkles pop. Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah, like I said, you can't really pose this guy around too dynamically, but he looks great. He'll look great on your shelf. He'll be different, not like any other Riddler you've ever had. That face sculpt is awesome. Again, anytime McFarlane does a mask, he kills it. But anytime he does a human face, it's leaves a lot to be desired. One of the awesome things about this costume design is this is a baseball hat. Cut up. There's just the top. It's definitely a baseball hat. Glasses. Oh, serial killer. Look at those things. If you ever watch serial killer shows, you've seen guys with the glasses these thick. What is up with that? Some sort of saran wrap around his head. Can't seem to get that to focus here. There we go. The ear looks really weird, but it's covered in saran wrap plastic or something. So it would look like that. Straps. Telling you, although this figure, doesn't have the articulation, the design is cool. On your shelf, it'll look awesome. So I'm happy overall with this figure. It's definitely not as dynamic as the Batman figure. That thing you could pose very well. So because of that, we're going to skip the posability section of my video, and we'll go right to hitting it with a wash. So we'll be back to check that out. But because I'm not doing the posability section, you guys already saw that the legs can't really move. I'll just do a quick thing of the arms. So they have lots of articulation because you can fold it in half. It does look ugly. It's not like you can pose it, going like that. It just looks awful. But you can move them all around. Butterfly joints, have them scratch their back. T-pose, no problem. Alright. So, we'll be back. Hit this with a wash. Check it out with some other figures. And wrap it up. Alright, here we have all our supplies to hit this guy with a wash. Now I use testers, acrylic, wood stain. In Canada, found at Michael's craft store. And some people might water this down, some people might use other stuff. I grabbed this and it worked for me great. I don't water it down ever. I shake it up and just start using it. So it's pretty simple. Paintbrush, paper towels, figure, and I paint it on. I wait a few minutes and I wipe it off. Sometimes it's trial by error. You wait a little longer or take it off really quickly. You could use either dry or a wet paper towel. Wet will pretty much take it right off. You can wait quite a long time and still wipe this stuff off. So I think it works great to just make your action figures, all the little details, pop a little bit easier. So I'm going to just demonstrate what I do. So I'm going to shake it up. Pretty simple. You have some in the cap. Grab some there. Grab your figure. And you just paint it on. You don't need to be skilled at this. I'm not a customizer by any means. And do this at your own discretion. Don't blame me if you ruin your action figure. Rubber, plastic, I don't know even if that's what it's called, but kind of material here, it doesn't dry quite as easily as, say, like a Marvel Legends. That stuff, this stuff sticks to it quite nicely. So you might have to just leave it on a little longer before you wipe it off. But it's as simple as just painting it on and waiting and wiping it off. So off camera I'm going to do that. I'm going to paint this guy up and wipe it off, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, we have Riddler here all painted up with the wash, and like I said, you just leave it a few minutes and you wipe it off. So that's what we're going to do. I'll probably do this off camera, but I just wanted to show you. It's on there, and we're just going to wipe it. Come off really easily. So, I'm going to do this all off on camera and come back and show you the end result. Some end up working out better than others, and some work out great. I have a feeling this is going to look alright. If you go to my Instagram page at Mad About Toys Podcast, you can see a Spider-Man that I did that turned out alright. Again, I'm not a customizer, not a professional by any means. It's just something I saw on YouTube and tried it for myself, and it was successful, in my opinion. We'll be back. Alright, all done for now. We hit that up with a wash. We wiped it off. It's probably still a little wet, a little tacky, but really easy. We can go back and hit some spots if I notice. We can wipe off some things if I find it, but it just adds a little bit of shading, a little bit of details, makes those wrinkles pop a little bit. I hit the face just a little bit, makes those holes stand out a little more. So some people might think it looks worse. I think it looks a little better, especially just sitting on the shelf. And yeah, so there's the process. Easy. Testers. Get it in any craft store, I'm sure. Alright, we'll be back. Compare this guy, some other figures. Next to the Riddler from Arkham Asylum. Pretty old figure. Awful articulation. I would love McFarlane to redo this figure. I'm not sure where his hat is, and his cane broke. Trying to get it in the hand. Actually, matter of fact, his hand is broke. I had to glue his hand. So it's really hoping for a new one of these guys. That would be awesome. Scales well with Mr. Freeze from Arkham Asylum. DC Direct, I believe. Another figure from that line, Wave. Not even sure. Pretty old, but pretty awesome. Scales well with this rat face Batman. With a Marvel Legends custom mask figure. Riddler in the sit test. I wouldn't say he passes, but he doesn't fail. You could force it and fudge it if you wanted to, but very difficult. Here he is with Robert Pattinson's The Batman from the same line, same movie. Can't wait to check this out. That'll do it for this episode. Thanks for watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of The Riddler by McFarlane Toys. Please subscribe, like, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day, everybody.